All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Nisemonogatari, Episode 2. All right,
Okay.
as you can see, we are wearing shirts.
Yes.
Shirts courtesy of Daiki. Thank you so much for these wonderful shirts.
I'm wearing a shirt that actually has pigmentation in it. It's weird.
Yeah, exactly.
But here we are. We are back to the TV episode format, and it's amazing. The dialogue is snappy and witty and wonderful.
Right. Rapid fire, very quick flashes of images to convey certain elements of theming and visual storytelling abound. And we have Hachikuji and Senjugahara front and center in the previous episode. But we also had one of the sisters, specifically the youngest one. And they brought up the whole mention of there being even like a middle sister even.
But then there wasn't a middle sister.
There's not a middle sister.
But then the whole thing of the older sister being like absent, but then the arc is named after the older sister.
Right.
So,
and then also the whole thing of there being basically this idea of things coming, backstage for them, basically things where being put up on stage. There's potential oddity issues that will be happening for Araragi and his family, which was a specific thing that he was trying to avoid by not sparring with them.
Right.
Because he's being, he's still a part vampire,
Yes.
and is a little bit worried about that. But there's also a slight issue with this idea of potentially us jumping around in time, as Araragi was kidnapped by maybe Senjugahara. Pretty doggone sure it was Senjugahara.
Yeah.
And it might have been just a thing of like, hey, we're going to hang out and stuff. But then there was also this potential thing of an oddity being involved there as well, like a bee.
Yeah.
Or something.
It was Karen B, I think is what.
Karen B,
I think that's what the name of the arc was called.
Yeah. So there's a possibility also that there's something directly related to his sister that hasn't happened yet, but will happen once Araragi gets into that stage of being kidnapped.
Yes.
So, Monogatari, complications abound, craziness, characters. Yes. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everyone, we're going to start the episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Whoa. What is this music? Gotcha. Nice. Combat.
Whoa. And she's 15. Okay.
Yeah. She enjoys fighting too much to appear truly feminine. Oh my gosh.
Tsukihi.
Yes. Gotcha.
Ooh. Ah.
Oh. No. We're justice itself. Okay.
To you, maybe.
Whoa.
Hence Nisei.
Yep.
Oh.
Oh. Okay.
I like it.
Oh. Oh my.
They're being portrayed as a lot more grown up.
Yeah. The bee, the Karen bee, exploding out chaos color. Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
Okay.
Oh, no color on him, yeah.
Or Koyomi, I guess we should start calling him.
Yes, to separate Koyomi. Oh my gosh, wow, that was a large wall of text. Not fair, show, not fair. Tsukihi?
Oh, Sengoku.
Oh, Sengoku, that's right. Yes, he's going to visit her, that's right. Do what? Yeah. What about my bangs? That shot of him just floating practically.
Okay.
What is this room?
She has a lot of locks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Whoa. Simon says. Wow. Yep. Seduction. Whoa, with the lace and stuff. Whoa. Oh my god, wow. They literally got the game of life. Wow. Such a dumb game.
Naturally. I don't think she is.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Oh. Oh, this seems important. Yeah.
Okay.
Based on what, though? New quest with Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically the bangs.
Yeah. That's a good point. We haven't really seen much of Kanbaru recently.
Right. I was gonna say, yeah. Of course.
Wow. Don't you need someone to spin it, though?
I mean, if she's the snake, it's actually hilarious that
Sure.
they would play a game of Twister. After that, Psycho's mom suddenly came home.
Wax on, wax off.
Yes! Of course.
I love how much her design changes.
Right. Yes. So fast. Oh yeah. Right. You have nothing to do with this, Araragi.
Why is the plane flying backwards?
Occasionally. As you do.
Naturally.
Which is saying a lot, because Kanbaru is quite perverted, as we well know. Grandma. Instant disappointment.
Oh, this is great.
Your emotional trauma. Oh, yes. And how about today?
Because I'm already at your house.
I'm as fast as...
The real question is, hoping he can beat her there before she gets dressed.
Right, exactly. Not even close. Oh. That's his sister.
Mm-hmm.
Karen B. Araragi Karen. Ah! Flawless execution. Oh, she's got the one tooth, Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah, not sure I follow. The music for her is so like.
Ah, clearly.
How can you know what she's doing is dangerous if you don't know what she's doing? What?
She's good.
Yeah. The Gumshoe Master. Burned to death.
Wow.
All right. That's pretty meta. Yep. Phrasing. I gotta say though, she's awesome.
Yeah, she
She's
is.
so freaking awesome. Oh, wait, we're not allowed to hear that? Huh.
Oh.
Ha 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 ha. Ha! Be kind to her. Oh my gosh. She's so depressed. She
didn't bother getting dressed.
No.
This is how she'll entertain herself.
Right.
Clearly.
The paragon of virtue.
I'm just pretending this pillow's Senjigahara. Nothing to see here.
I love the music for Kanbaru too. You're skipping a few steps there. Oh my gosh. Yep.
Yeah, no, I can't do that.
He doesn't instantly.
Yeah, he doesn't even need to move to close it.
No.
Just,
nice. Number 4. Bad luck. Hey. Ah, indeed.
What's with the conveyor belt in her room, though?
It's not literal. It's just there for the purpose of conveying something about her character, you know. Yes. Ha! Ha! No. He doesn't. Yeah, that's just, yeah.
Wow.
Stunned expressions.
Horny for Hitaki.
Yep.
I get the feeling that was a yaoi book. I didn't read the full name, but...
Glasses wearing secretary and glasses wearing prince.
Oh, yeah.
Watch for falling books.
This is all just yaoi.
Yep. It's all the same. Yep. Safety first.
How dare you say such a thing?
No. There's a difference. Dead.
He's gonna hunt you.
Yeah, I know. Oh no. Wow. Wow.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Wow. Kanbaru is so amazing. I just love that she was like deeply disturbed by the fact that, wait, he's making assertions that I might not actually be the most perverted person around. I can't have that, but I'm starting to doubt it myself. Wait a minute. Wait, all this BL I read, is it really just simple BL? No, I've got kinky stuff in here too.
Yeah, exactly.
Where is it? Wow.
Wow.
And the way they made Aragi's hair go Hachikuji style. Oh my god.
My
god.
Yeah, this episode was basically like, let's have all the Genki in one episode.
Like, it's not even like, let's deal with oddities. It's just, let's go through all the characters and make sure that you are aware of just how much you love all these characters. Or
how ridiculous all of them are. Like,
oh man.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Freaking Kanbaru. Wow. I mean, this is kind of why I had her as like my number 2 favorite girl character back then. Okay, so we're supposed to watch these. Potentially. We're finally the protagonist.
Cool.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
That episode.
Freaking Monogatari.
Yeah.
This episode. What was this episode?
It was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
And the thing is that like when I think about it, it's funny. Like, wait a minute. This episode was almost textbook exactly the same as the previous episode, except that they just changed the characters that they had the interactions with. Like, is that what Nisei's gonna be? Like is this, are they just gonna have an entire series where essentially the main characters are the sisters, but they don't actually deal with the oddities in like a fast pace?
No.
Like basically,
yes,
so that it's just like all a bunch of like witty dialogue with all the different characters.
We've seen 2 episodes, Jacob.
Right.
No.
But like the amount that we got for the oddities in the 2 episodes was like next to none.
That's okay.
I'm fine with that. Like if they do that for this season, however that works, I would totally be okay with it because wow, the dialogue's good.
I think that's what they're doing, but that's what they're doing now. They could easily catch back up to the whole thing of the kidnapping.
That's true.
Or even just have it be a thing where we are slowly getting a reveal on the whole thing of what is the issue with Karen. Because there was this whole thing that Sengoku told us about. Because if you think about the characters that got the main focus here, you have Karen, Sengoku, and Kanbaru.
Yep.
Sengoku's actually feels the most connected from the previous episode.
Yeah.
It's the thing that actually like ties back into like, oh yeah, I plan to come back and meet with you and stuff. But if you think about Sengoku's arc back in the beginning of Bake, it also wasn't fully finished.
Right.
So they're actually weaving Sengoku's arc from the whole thing with the curse that was given out by those other kids to continue potentially in some ways here with having this these happenings be something that the Fire Sisters are going to investigate and then potentially uncover what did happen. And if that's something they're doing and they see themselves as, we are protagonists in this fantasy video game, basically.
We are not just champions of justice.
We are justice itself. Like, calm down, Tyrael. You cannot judge me. I am justice itself. You know, it's like, man. Okay, now all you need to do, Karen, is say that in a JoJo pose. You cannot judge me.
Right.
Yada does it.
Like, everything in this episode was so like dialed up to an extreme.
Yes.
Like both with like Sengoku and her all like, oh, let's start taking off clothes and stuff and play Twister
start the
and
seduction. Yeah, exactly. Here, right now,
with every door in the house basically locked, so it will be very hard for Araragi to get out, but also hard for anyone to interrupt them. You know. Okay, and then we have And then we have Karen, who is flipping around and walking on her hands and doing all this crazy stuff, and just in general being absolutely hilarious. And the voice actress sounds familiar. Like, I mean, the seiyus for Monogatari are, of course, all amazing. And because of the success of this franchise, it would not be surprising that they would have, gotten the best people for it. But then also that if there was anyone that didn't already have a name for themselves, being a part of this would give them quite the name in the industry.
For sure.
And I can't pin down exactly like where I think I've heard her voice before, but it was like, I think I know that.
I think it's someone that we've heard before in at least one other show.
Right.
But I couldn't tell you for the life of me who it is. So I gotta say, with how they introduced Karen, probably one of my favorite first-time introductions we've ever had for a Monogatari girl.
Yeah,
ever.
And maybe it's just because like
it was so ridiculous. It was so over the top. Yep. The music alone, I think, made it like actually enjoyable. Just the music made me go, okay, whatever's happening here, I'm in for it.
Yep. I feel like she's very similar to Kanbaru in a lot of ways, but because of the way basically the story is structured as far as the oddities and stuff, we're able to way more quickly get to the quirkiness and just the fun interactions between the characters.
Right.
And also maybe like if Bake was written first, then that was where Niseoisen, I don't know exactly how to pronounce that, but was basically getting into their stride with the characters in this unique style for everything.
Sure.
So then since Karen and the other sister
Sukiho,
are being introduced later,
right.
That it's a lot more fluid and dynamic and just right to the point.
It was done really well.
Yes.
I gotta say, Kanbaru just reiterated why she is in a lot of ways my no pun intended, but kind of closet best girl, like the one that is like not the main best girl.
She
obviously.
hasn't had like the super like as crazy of an emotional like arc. Yeah, yes. But she's so much fun every time she's on the screen.
There's this aspect of all the girls that have some kind of crush on Araragi, where they have a part of them that's flirting like really hard to get his attention and stuff. And basically what Kanbaru's is that I love even more is she's basically just like, hey, you can look, but you can't touch because
but I might touch you.
Because that's the other thing I thought that they basically poked a little bit of fun at, was realizing that Kanbaru on some level is the lewdest, the most pervy one of them all, the most erotic, and yet when it came down to the contest, Araragi's like, are you kidding me? Like you couldn't come close to how pervy like I could be. And then she's like
yourself.
Right. And then she basically is like, well, fine. I'm just gonna sexually harass you then. Yeah. And we'll see who's
just how pervy I am.
And the thing is that it was shown as more of a an actual like physical contest, if you will. But one of the things that I actually kinda like that they're poking a little bit of fun at is the idea that this is supposed to be framed as funny. But the thing is that he brought up the whole thing with Hachikuji about how he's not going to...
Yeah, well, and he said, I won't start.
Right.
Not saying that he won't do it, but he exposed baby steps here.
Yes, but that Kanbaru basically on some level did the thing that we would all go if Araragi did this to any of the other girls, would be like, oh,
the hell? Yeah.
The hell?
Yeah.
And yet Kanbaru, because of whatever, we are more accepting of it, which I love that dripping hypocrisy with it all. It's perfect.
Because I feel like Kanbaru is, because this is this show is a harem, right? And I feel like Kanbaru is basically the deconstruction element of the harem, where she's the one person while she flirts with Araragi like crazy in order to
teases him.
Right, exactly. She's not actually interested in him, right? Which
She's so hard on for Sengahara.
Exactly. Which makes it fantastic, because the thing that can be so frustrating with harems is that it's like, oh, these characters like each other, but nothing's ever going to come of it. Whereas in this case, it's there will be all the things that would make you think that, there's something there, but no. There isn't at all.
No, this is all the long game to get you to screw up so that I can have Hitagi for myself. No, look all you want, because...
Right.
And but then she doesn't actually want to have Sengahara Hitagi, actually feel bad.
Right, exactly.
So she does certain things to make sure that she doesn't overstep her bounds.
That it's all in good fun, but it's almost like she's living in her own fantasy of I will take Hitagi back, but she knows
one of her fan fiction.
Exactly,
yes.
And the way that she's so brazenly herself, and yet when her grandmother walks past and she had the divides for the rooms up, she's like, oh no,
genuine distraught.
She's like,
we've never heard Kanbaru that way.
I'm talking on the phone naked to somebody, and the things we're saying, and my grandmother, she doesn't even miss a step. She just looks at me with this sad look in her eyes and just keeps going. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then she just collapses depressed. And the way they made the pillow when she's holding it almost look like a pair of boobs at some points, you know, where it's like she's consoling herself with her own fantasies and everything.
Oh, yes.
And then Araragi comes over as fast as he can, because he's like, oh, she's naked. She might not have gotten dressed by then. Oh, man. That was just, it was so hilarious.
Yeah, the comedy of this episode was incredible. I think that the Sengoku bit was handled way better than the snake part in the Bakemonogatari section of her story.
And that might have to do with the fact that the oddity isn't surrounding her as directly, so it's more about what she's doing for her character rather than focusing on the oddity itself.
But here's something that's very, very, very apparent with Sengoku right now. She is different. She has changed. She is very confident. She is way more forward.
That's true.
Did you notice how much more certain she was of I am not being subtle? Well, she's still trying to be somewhat subtle, but she's instead of it being a thing of blushing,
whatever. It's like, hey, let's play king. Let's play says the king or whatever. I can be either. I can be giving or taking.
Let's play Twister. She's doing everything that she can outside of saying Araragi strip and
she hasn't gotten the lube out yet. But...
Yes, exactly. But she's saying, oh, you can sit on the bed. In fact, that's the only place you can sit.
Exactly. Why don't you take off your sweater? And it's hot in here. Is it really?
Do you want to know where I'm kind of going with this? Is that on some level, Sengoku, I blended her last name with Hanakawa's. I was like
Sengakawa?
Hanako or something. But no, it's Sengoku is taking in some ways the constricting, slowly coiling around you aspects of a snake. And she has her whole little
and the way it's each layer she locks all the doors and stuff. So
So I'm just saying, maybe on some level, certain people, they were made completely free of their oddity stuff, the Hitagi crab. But then you have others like Sengoku, where it's I don't know if everything's over.
Well, and also with the way her arc resolved, it was very much open-ended. But in addition to that, now maybe this is just my bad memory because it was a while ago, and it was one of the arcs that didn't leave the strongest impression. You know, but her curse was placed on her by another girl who was jealous because the guy that the girl liked Sengoku.
Yes, I believe that's right.
And that girl, potentially, it seemed maybe was Araragi's younger sister. I'm not sure. Maybe I
don't know.
Maybe I've just forgotten a bunch or whatever. But because the whole thing of
check after the
right,
episode,
but the whole thing about Sengoku and Araragi's younger sister being very close was a big thing. So it makes sense that she would be one of the people giving a lot of the exposition about this new arc with Araragi's sisters, because since it's involving both of the sisters, even though it's called Karen B right now,
right?
It makes sense that it would be the other person who is also close with the sisters, right? Because none of the other girls really are,
for sure.
But yeah, I don't know, because then that could be a way that they could theoretically resolve a bit more of Sengoku's arc, because she could really be intertwined with all of the stuff that ends up happening with the sisters. Even if it's not necessarily with Karen, it might just be with the younger one. But
for sure.
Yeah.
I can see it. Mm-hmm. I can see it especially. One of the things that they brought up also this episode is why this is called Nisemonogatari.
Yeah.
The sisters are the fakes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But how? There's a couple levels in which they are fakes. One is that they live in their own fantasy world of this game that they play.
Yeah.
That's not fully a game to them.
And with the younger one, I feel like it's a lot clearer because what we saw from her in the previous episode was very much the whole thing of like her saying one thing and meaning the other, right? Yep. And the whole all the stuff she's trying to communicate to, Oni-chan, Koyomi, Araragi doesn't really work here anymore. But she's trying to communicate to her older brother that's not being noticed, right? Mm-hmm. With Karen, it's not quite so clear. Now, maybe it's that she's just doing all of this as a facade, a way to entertain herself, and and things like that. And there's something else that's deeper, that's very much concealed, right?
Sure.
But we haven't really seen anything like that yet, or hints of what that would be. I feel like because it's definitely not just the make believe with the stories and whatnot.
Right.
Like she ended up learning karate a bunch and stuff, and that might have been because of the fights that they would have with Koyomi, and that's why she ended up doing that as a way to try and get closer to her brother, but that ended up not working maybe. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. On some level of this, there's this aspect of once you bring little sisters into the overall kind of harem in general, there's this issue of they're not really in the harem, but they are, so it's like...
Right, the question of how much they're in the harem.
How much are they in this,
right,
and how much are they separate in their own kind of specific story with regards to oddities having interacted or dealing with them.
Right.
And something that they're not fully aware of or prepared for. I would say primarily it's going to be a thing of where Araragi is going to have to help his younger sisters, but in the midst of that, we're probably going to see how much of a sister complex he has, if at all.
Sure, yeah. How much is this show going to do cis baiting rather, and then maybe it's more of just that they have they need to figure out who they are and how they're going to interact with their brother moving forward, since the relationship is not as good as it could be.
Yeah.
But
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that aspect of them kind of missing him, kind of needing more time with him and stuff.
Especially since their parents are non-existent,
Yeah, that too. On some level, it's basically just unless you're, involved in the story, you're not a character at all that
specifically, especially the harem.
Which was kind of funny because then the mom of Sengoku came back and basically saved Araragi from this whole thing. But that was off screen.
In true fashion.
And I just loved
even the grandma for Kanbaru.
That's true. That was something, though, that was so far removed from Araragi specifically, though.
It was someone that he was talking with on the phone that told him about something that happened where they were at.
Yeah, so it feels too removed for something specific there. But, humor was incredible. I think the actual presentation of their surroundings were all unique in a really interesting way. So if you noticed how the OP was focused on Karen primarily, and there was this whole aspect of kind of paint or a
bunch of swirling colors, very bright and vibrant.
Right, but there was this thing of the bees transforming from out of the paint and stuff. So
sure,
yeah, I am still a little bit amiss as to where Karen's whole bee thing is supposed to be drawn from specifically.
There's only two things that really come to mind for me. One is the whole thing of the float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, right? And they brought that up in the previous episode.
Okay.
And then the other one is the idea that since they're references were made by Araragi to the idea that she's going through puberty now, right? Or she has, and she's this is a coming of age story for a lot of the characters, right?
What do bees do?
Well, yeah, the birds and the bees,
Sure.
that whole thing there. But that's about it. And then and that's but that'd be for pretty much every character. So
right,
how would they really handle that? Except unless it's maybe that she makes a lot of noise and then just sort of flies away. I don't know.
It could be also the aspect of the dedication to the physical stuff. Like, why did she start that at all in the first place? Because she started so young. And on some level, when you have that type of desire and you've got yourself as being the protagonist of stuff, you've got someone to protect, maybe. And maybe that's it, is that she's either trying to protect Araragi as being Araragi, her younger sister, or Araragi, her older brother.
Or herself.
Even. Or herself.
One of the things that I just thought of is that, I mean, when you think of a bee, what do bees do? They sting.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe there's some sting that happened a while back, you know, and there's like basically
should be the deliverer of said sting then, not the receiver.
Potentially, but I feel like maybe that could be like a switcheroo that they're trying to do or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there's any evidence to support that though.
But the idea of her throwing herself so completely into the karate and everything, that seems like there would be a purpose behind it. And it could just be to connect with her brother over like a positive thing of connecting with her brother over the fights or things like that.
Sure.
But it could also potentially be a negative thing where that was a way that she was trying to basically escape. You know, because they might not necessarily go into it in the black belt at 15 might just be a thing to showcase that she's awesome and a badass, but that's not something that would happen easily. Like that's the kind of thing that would take a ridiculous amount of time and discipline.
Quite, yeah.
And that could be something where she was doing that as a way so that it would take her mind off something else that maybe was hurting her. But I don't know.
Okay.
Great episode though. Like wonderful dialogue.
Yeah,
wonderful comedy.
I think that this episode was like infinitely infinitely well paced. Like if there's any way to applaud the writing, or not just the writing, the presentation of how things just flowed, the way it went from scene to scene, when you really think about it being just kind of a 3 set piece, kind of 1, 2, 3 segmentation of story. It worked so well. Like, there were so many times where I just realized, oh my god, they just blended like 2 characters kind of transitioning from one focus to the other so well here. And yet it was like something where, I don't know, it should have been a little bit more, I don't know, not stale, but just kind of like,
right, because it was so systematic of what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things I just realized is that with Sengoku's interactions, certainly in this episode, and from what I can recall from her arc previously, is that it's a lot of things where Sengoku is actively doing stuff, but Araragi isn't doing as much, as far as like the usual banter and the stuff that they'll have going on between, like, say, Araragi and Karen this episode, usually. Right, or Araragi and Kanbaru. So the fact that even though it makes sense for Sengoku to be the one that delivers a lot of the exposition about the oddity situation for this arc, it also serves as a double purpose to make the interactions with her a lot more engaging, since Araragi can't really meet her with the same interactions that he can with the other girls, because since she's actively trying to seduce him and his whole thing is just being oblivious, there's not as much that he can do there. So the fact that they're having the exposition be in those situations is helpful to make it be more engaging, and they didn't spend all that much time on it either. So
wait a minute, if there was a person that cursed
Araragi or Sengoku, yeah,
and then the one snake went back to the other person who did it, was it something where there's a potential kind of spreading? You know how they were saying that there's a curse going around town? What there seems to be this thing of there's this what goes around comes around, this kind of karmic aspect to that curse.
Yeah.
What if what's happening is it just keeps bouncing around from person to person, and now it's this thing that's evolved and taken on an even more, scary form of what it originally was.
And they talked about that. And they said that in the case of Sengoku, the reason why it really became a problem was because of other stuff that she did that basically exacerbated it and aggravated it, right? Sengoku. She tried to like remove the curse or whatever, and she did all the things with snakes and stuff, and then that ended up making it worse.
Yes, that's right. That's right. But what does that have to do with spreading it?
Just that it would make sense because with something like if it was as bad as it was for Sengoku, I mean, maybe it would be, maybe it wouldn't be, I don't know, but if it wasn't quite as bad as it was for Sengoku, then it would make sense that it would be able to spread without it being something that would be too big to ignore. Because like when you think about it, when something spreads, like it'll be dormant for a while, and then it'll contagiously spread, and then by the time you actually really see the symptoms, it's already been spread to like 10 other people. But didn't it
spread because there was it goes back to the original caster kind of thing? It has nothing to do. It's nothing to do with
Fair
it being
point.
something that it was like a disease.
Right.
It was an actual like object, you know.
An actual spirit that was
So I'm thinking is that the spirit is getting basically passed around like a specific thing, and then it ends up having to keep coming back. So someone keeps trying to send it away.
Sure.
And it could have just end up going out there. And if it has some kind of form that it chooses to kind of stick to, maybe then when it's interacting with someone else, it could change. Sure.
And that's stuff that will, like, the way they've been kind of more trickling the stuff in with the oddity stuff in this season so far, we'll get more of that.
You're right. It is kind of a trickle feeding.
Like, it's a lot more like what Hanakawa's arc was in Bake than like the other arcs. Because like Hanakawa's, since it had Shinobu in there too, they like spent more time on it, you know?
Good point. And then would you say that the main thing we have to then determine is whether or not this is actually a thing that's directly connected to that? Because then I would say that if it's something that's more of a trickle feed thing, then it has probably some small connection to it, but it's not the same oddity. It's its own thing,
right? Probably
because of one, exemplifying it as a bee in this, rather than a snake.
They have anywhere from 1 to 3 characters they could have be involved here. It could just be Karen for now, or it could be both of the sisters, or it could be both the sisters and Sengoku. Right. So, yeah.
There was the whole thing they brought up recently, also of how this is in July. And how recently Karen just had her birthday. And the whole idea of dates and times and the whole, like, what was it, the numbers that was on the, like, the calendar type thing that was
something
on the
like
wall of Tsukiho's room that she was in. Well, the TV room she was in or something like that. I am curious to see what that whole connection is, because there's something where it's something that's afflicting both sisters, right? There's something hitting both of them,
even if it's not necessarily the same thing,
and it's not necessarily the same thing.
But like, I'm so excited to see how they do this though, because the way they're making it so entertaining, just the journey of it with all the characters, like they could spend as little or as much time on this as they really wanted, and I would not bother. Like, I would not be bothered by it.
I want more of this type of dialogue and interaction and stuff. It's really good. Whose lines this episode were kind of the ones that made you just die of laughter the most? Like, just
I think
hilarious.
I think it was Kanbaru, because I love her obsession with BL. I mean, but the way that she was basically, because like with Karen and Araragi, I'll just call him Araragi even though they're all Araragi. That was, I felt like they were on like equal footing a lot more, you know, and it was like they're like traditional jabs, like, haha, I see you using Bonetti's defense against me, huh?
They have more time spent together, so the whole thing of now you're in that pose, say something cool, right? And she's like, yes, you cannot defeat me, you cannot pass unless you defeat me. Cooler than expected. And he's like, this is just gonna end up being a gag of mine from here on out. I'm like, oh my god, that's so meta. I love it. But then with Kanbaru,
it was like it was like this, and then and it was so entertaining. It was so entertaining.
It felt like a proper battle, whereas Karen's and Araragi's was more of
like a stage fight,
or more of like an escalating improv group kind of thing, where they're each like giving each other like little things to go on.
Whereas like Kanbaru, they're talking and it's great, and then suddenly Kanbaru's dealing with a crisis,
emotional trauma, and extreme investment, and then Araragi like doubles down and he's like,
rushes over, and
then she counter riposts, and he's just like, nani.
Like that was just wonderful.
All right, this was good, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there, and any level support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us about stories, or you can get involved with the community discussion of things regarding Monogatari and the manga and all that, or you can talk with us about non-spoilery stuff as we go through the episode stuff, or just whatever. And if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.